Hello, my name's Gabe Zollner. You ever wonder, the speculation is that maybe Barack Hussein Obama really isn't who he says he is. And not only because that, might not even be his name. I mean, we know him as Barry Soetoro, we know him as Barack Hussein Obama. I think we need to know him as Barry Marshall Davis. And let me tell you why. And I hope some dermatologists sort of pipe in on this. If you take a look at pictures of Barack Sr., he has a very smooth complexion. Incredibly smooth complexion. I don't think there's a mark on his face. And you take a look at Frank Marshall Davis, he's got all these little things all over his face. Now, you take a look at Barack Hussein Obama, or Barry Soetoro, or whatever he is, he's getting those same little marks all over his face. Now, there is a difference in their noses, because Frank Marshall Davis, he has a typical, African-American nose. Well, guess what Obama had before he had a nose job? He had the same kind of nose. And that's not the same kind of nose that Barack Sr. had. What's interesting is what I believe happened is that when Frank Marshall Davis was taking those nudie pictures of his mommy, they got carried away. And, the photographer got involved with the subject, you know what I mean? And all of a sudden, she got pregnant. Now they got a problem. Let me tell you what the problem is. Not only is it a problem because way back then that didn't happen too often, but it's a bigger problem because her daddy worked in a government position. And Frank Marshall Davis, he was on the watch list for being a commie. And I think there was a mandate out that is, if there's a war that starts, he's going to be one of the first ones they're going to grab. He was on like a very, very big watch list. So they had to come up with a daddy for, the little girl. So what they did is they found this guy Barack and they said, hey, we need you to do us a favor. We need you to marry our daughter. He says, I can't marry your daughter. I'm already married. And I got kids in Kenya. They said, don't worry, this isn't Kenya. No one's even going to know. Maybe that's why there's no marriage certificate. Did you ever think of that? But guess what? In 1964, when Barry or Barack or whoever he was just a little boy, they got divorced. Yeah. Ann Dunham, she filed a divorce paper, and he didn't even contest. All right. He couldn't contest because he couldn't have been married in the first place because he was already married. You understand? But anyway, so now you take a look at Barack, or Barry. Now, his facial features don't necessarily look too much like Frank, and that's because Barack, or Barry, or whoever he is, had a nose job. Yeah. When he ran for the Senate, he changed his nose to more of, I guess, like a white man's nose. I'm not a plastic surgeon, so I don't know what you'd call it, but he doesn't have that typical African-American nose. Well, he wasn't African-American to begin with. He was Arab, but Arabs also have that kind of a facial feature. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so what they did was, again, they couldn't have her be pregnant with this guy, Frank, because Frank, he's on some heavy-duty watch list. The problem that story all has is that if that's all true, then Barack's mommy was an American, and so was the daddy. But I still think he was born in Kenya. But even if he was born in Hawaii, and the mommy and the daddy were both Americans, that would make him an American citizen, except for the fact that he told everybody his daddy was Barack Sr. And we know that Barack Sr. was a British subject. So we also know that according to the British Act of 1948, that makes Obama, or Barry, or whatever his name is, a British subject as well. So he really can't be holding the office of the presidency. And what our Congress has to do is take their head out of their, back down there, and do what has to be done. All right? We have to remove him because he's not eligible, no matter who his daddy was. Okay? He's got to go. And the longer you leave him there, the more entrenched his tentacles go throughout every facet of our country. He's already corrupted 99.99% of the federal judges. He's already appointed a whole slew of homosexual federal judges. He's going to, given an opportunity, appoint, I think, and I might be wrong, I think the less than honorable Attorney General Eric H. Holder Jr. is going to be his first appointment to the Supreme Court once a vacancy opens up. You think of that? Yeah. I'm actually looking forward to who he's got on his pardon list. I guess that's got to come up real soon, right? I got to look into that. Because I think I know one guy for sure. Maybe two. But one guy for sure. Yeah. You know, the guy that was his buddy back in Chicago, the guy that sold him his home? Tony Resco. Tony. Hey, Tony. I bet you Tony's already packed his crap out of the joint. I think he was serving 10. So he was in for a couple, I guess. And I think also Blagojevich. That's why Blagojevich's wife never moved. She never went to Colorado because she knew that, you know, he'll be on a vacation there for a couple of years. What's it been, about a year? And he'll be back home with the mom and the dads and the kiddies. Well, we'll see. I'm hoping that a couple of federal judges hold up their oath of office and honor their oath of office. And if they do that, this nightmare will end.